So, Dr. Breus, sleep doctor, thank you for joining me on Mindfulness Marathon. This is awesome. I always knew I needed to meet you, especially after I'll Sleep When I'm Dead came out. People are like going, Steve, you need to sleep. You need to find time to sleep. And um, and then obviously just the universe called us together. I met you, and now, I am getting a lot better sleep.
Well, I sure hope so, dude.
Learning your tricks and stuff, and it's time to share. It's always about learning and sharing, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So everyone, this is a sleep doctor, and during COVID, I mean, it's an alarming rate of how many people aren't sleeping enough.
It's actually pretty amazing, Steve. What we're seeing now is almost 40% of people are having some form of difficulty with sleep. Now, that could be everything from crazy dreams. A lot of people are having what we're calling quarantine dreaming, right? Which is like this weird quarantine stress-related dreaming stuff that's making people go, ugh. We've also got people who are not following good sleep schedules. And so that's causing a tremendous amount of problems with their circadian rhythm. So for folks out there who might not know what a circadian rhythm is, this is actually an internal biological clock that tells your body when to sleep and when to wake up. Well, when we're not waking up on consistently, that can have a dramatic effect on our ability to fall asleep. Also, to be fair, dude, like alcohol and caffeine is up, and that's not bueno for sleep, right? And we're going to talk a whole bunch about how we can safely use alcohol or caffeine, and the right ways to use water and food and things like that. So we're going to be educating people on quite a few things today, which I'm super stoked to do.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. You've nailed it on the head. Is people are not sleeping well right now, and it's a concern.
Yeah, and I mean, let's get down to the basics. Like, what's the relationship with sleep and mental health?
So I'm glad you asked that because I know that's an area that's been important to you for a very long time. And so sleep affects every organ system and every disease state. Literally everything you do better with a good night's sleep. When you don't get a good night's sleep, the opposite occurs and all of that stuff gets worse. There's data to suggest that depression gets worse with lack of sleep, anxiety gets worse with lack of sleep, panic gets worse with lack of sleep. Literally any mental health scenario that you can think of, it's not so hot when people are sleep deprived, for sure. And what happens is that builds on top of itself. And so what a lot of people don't understand, especially from the mental health perspective, is if you don't have a good night's sleep, it affects your entire viewpoint, right? And so anything that you were feeling like depression gets accentuated, not retracted. So that's the big thing that we always have to be careful of, is especially during times where there's an increased level of stress. And let's be fair, dude, I've never experienced stress like this before. I don't know, anybody in our lifetimes that have. This level of stress is unprecedented, and that's having a huge effect on mental health.
What is it like? What's the physiological
Sure.
response? What's the healing attributes of sleep? What is it really doing?
So here's what's interesting about sleep in and of itself is, and you nailed it. Sleep is a healing process, right? It's recovery. It's exactly what our bodies are looking for. So it turns out that there are certain stages of sleep that are more healing than others or do different things. Something we've heard a lot about is this idea behind deep sleep, or what we call stages 3 and 4 sleep. It turns out that this is your physical restoration. It's like bringing your car into the body shop. So what ends up happening is this stuff called growth hormone is emitted. And growth hormone turns out to be one of the most important aspects for true cellular repair, right? So if you injure yourself or you strain a muscle or something like that, during stage 3, 4 sleep, that's when that gets fixed. But that's not the only thing that's important. We also need the mental restoration, right? And mental restoration comes from REM sleep. But most people don't know is REM sleep has a tendency to occur in the back part of the night. So when you limit your sleep schedule, you're actually knocking out that REM sleep. And that's that cognitive, that's that emotion, that's that memory component that you're literally throwing out the window. So when people have short sleep cycles, like 5 hours, 6 hours of sleep, it ends up actually causing all kinds of more emotional, memory, cognitive, all the things that we really don't want to see.
Oh, okay. So someone like me, I'm finally getting the sleep because we did the challenge. We'll talk about that later. I want to bring that up later.
Yeah.
But my sleep schedule, not like anyone else. And I just want to mention this because I think there's a lot of people that follow me that are musicians and producers and
Yeah.
creative people out there that we strive off being in the studio late at night. Like I was in the studio till 5 a.m. last night. So,
Right.
and that's very normal for me. Very,
Right.
very normal for me. So, I know, but I am getting the sleep. I am getting the sleep. So is that a problem to not sleep, not following
The
the,
guidelines.
the clock of the planet? You know what I mean? Like, 'cause
Right.
the
Well,
sun goes down,
so
I'm still up for a long time after.
absolutely. So here's the thing that I've found about my most creative patients and clients is they're all like you, dude. They love the nighttime. My creatives come out at night, right? And so that seems to be, that nightlife seems to breed that level of creativity. I mean, look, you don't even go on sometimes until what, 10, 11 o'clock at night,
Oh
maybe.
no, 1, 2 in the morning.
Right, right. So like, I mean, it's crazy to try and deal with those types of schedules. Honestly, you're a shift worker as far as I'm concerned, right? Like you're the guy that's going to the factory at 5 o'clock in the morning and you know what I mean? And working those hours. And so all of the people that are out there that have these, number one, don't worry. We've got absolutely solutions that can help with people with all of these things. In fact, you and I have worked on many that have been very helpful for you during travel, when you're at home, things of that nature. But absolutely, positively, if you're a creative and you're not a night owl, sometimes I would be a little suspicious, to be honest with you.
Okay, so I'm all right. I'm not gonna die at a younger age or anything.
I'm going to keep you alive for a very long time, my
Yeah,
friend.
that's important because I've always been worried about that. I'm like, I know I'm breaking the rules of nature when,
Right.
when like our species way back when
Oh,
the
yeah.
sun goes down, you sleep, you wake
Right.
up, or like babies are like that, right? They like wake
Exactly.
up for crack of dawn.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about my gaming,
Yeah.
Okay, so since COVID, I got back from tour.
Yep.
Um, I had I am also part of a esports team,
Right.
and they came to my house and they set up this incredible streaming setup with Call of Duty. I got my games. Yeah, I got my PC. I have a PC now, which I'm an Apple guy, but I have a PC now, like PC gaming, because that's what
I know. PC gaming's big, dude.
yeah, it's big. It's huge. I got my PlayStation right over here. I got 3 screens up, and I am full on a streamer gamer now. Like that's what I do because I'm home.
Right.
So, gamers, like they're playing all the time.
All the time.
And if like they're a kid, the only way you can pull them out is the parents like, you got to come eat. Like
Right.
you got to come out of the room. But if you're an adult and you're stuck and you don't have a job, a lot of my friends are gaming. Every
Yep.
time I log on Call of Duty, they're playing. They're always playing. What's like tell me
How do we do that?
yeah, tell me about gaming, that screen use.
Yep.
I know it affects my dreams.
Yes.
I know it makes it harder for me to sleep.
That's correct.
Notice this.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about it.
yeah, let's talk about it.
So first of all, you're correct. And so the actual science behind what's going on is blue light. So from the screen is coming a type of light. So when we talk about light, it's actually a lot like what we talk about sound. So when we talk about sound, there are many different notes in a scale. It turns out that there are many different frequencies in a spectrum of light. And so there's a particular frequency, we have a tendency to call it blue, which is 460 to 480 nanometers. When that light hits a particular types of cell in your eyeball called melanopsin cells, it actually turns off the melatonin faucet in your brain. To be clear, melatonin is kind of that key that starts the engine for sleep, right? When that shit is turned off, you can't go to bed, right? And so that's part of the problem is this light is basically telling your brain, stay up, stay up, stay up. But I have a solution and I have a good one. I'm gonna go Bono on you. Are you ready? I've got my blue light blocking glasses on.
Wow.
Aren't these badass? I love these.
They're cool. They're cool.
So I'm doing my best Elvis Costello or Bono imitation because you always see those guys wearing these blue light blocking glasses, right? So what people need to understand is these are actually specific with amber type of lenses. So I've actually got ones with a particular type of lens in them that actually blocks the blue light. dude, I could sit there and game with you until 4 o'clock in the morning and it will not affect my sleep if I'm
Wow.
wearing these.
Wow.
You want some?
Yeah, I actually have some.
You don't have the good ones, dude. I created
Okay.
these.
All right.
I developed these myself.
Okay. Well, please send them to me.
You
I'm gonna,
bet.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna game with them on. I'm gonna game with them on.
Ah, I love it. That would be awesome.
So, I mean, do you wear that like when you're doing other stuff too, or just?
Yeah, so here's the key for blue light blocking glasses, which is in and of itself interesting, is many of them are very, very dark, and so you can't do much else with them. I created these so that I could still do things like game, read, work on my computer, and things like that. The other thing, though, that you have to be careful about is now they make them with clear lenses. They're not as effective. So
Yeah.
you want to have the ones that are amber lenses, but not too dark.
Right.
And absolutely, I'll get you some. You know what? We can put in the show notes. We can put a website where people can go to get them if they want.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Okay. I'm going to talk about this one too, which is, I think, important for all the busybodies,
Yep.
cause like that's how I'm built. My brain is built to have a schedule.
Yes.
You know how I was before, Michael. I toured 250 shows a year, and I'm always on the road. I'm hitting that road, and that's why I hit you up, because I mean, when I was on the road, some of these tours, I'm sleeping like 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
3 hours a day. But
No
then,
bueno.
but like my friend Tom Bilyeu, I'm not a fan. Well, I am now. I'm beginning to enjoy it, the time when I sleep, but I didn't want to sleep.
Well,
You
dude,
know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
when
I
I talked
wanted
to
to
Tom,
optimize my whole timeline.
yes.
And also, like, strangely enough, another friend of mine also told me to sleep more, was Dan Bilzerian, because he trains a lot. He's
Right.
he's always training. He's like, if you don't sleep, you can't rebuild muscle
Right.
growth and all that stuff. And I was training and not sleeping, and I was in the studio and still not sleeping. I was drinking tons of coffee and chewing this like caffeine gum and drinking green tea, not sleeping. And I was taking these meetings, not sleeping. And I was like, oh, I can still keep going. And then like some things were short circuiting,
Right.
and I would forget certain things. Like I'd be really like anxious, or
Right.
I would, I think people that do this, they understand what I was feeling, because
Yeah.
we all get that way. The brain's like going on overdrive. But
Absolutely.
and then I talked to you about it, and like I'm like, okay, what's the balance here? Because I want to remain optimally busy.
Well, and that's exactly what we're doing. And actually, that's going to be part of a challenge that we're going to be announcing for people soon. Is we're going to actually teach them how their internal body clock works, so that they know the right timing to do everything. And that's what turned out to be so important with a person like you. It's all about timing. You like to stay busy, but you still need your sleep. You still need to have your nutrition, exercise, productivity time, creative time. All of those things can actually be worked into that 24-hour cycle, even with as crazy a schedule as what you have. And it's funny that you mentioned Tom Bilyeu. When I was on his show not too long ago, the first thing he turned to me and said was, he said, dude, I hate sleep. Those are the first words out of his mouth, right? I mean, typical Tom thing to say, right? He's like, I hate sleep. And I was like, okay, why do you hate sleep? He's like, it takes too much time,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's how I feel about it too.
Right, but here's the thing that's amazing, is if you follow some very consistent rules with your sleep, your body requires less sleep, believe it or not, right? And so there's a lot of science behind some of these things. And so when people are thinking about these ideas, right, is how much sleep do I need? That number can change over the course of your life, over the course of even a month. If you get sick, if you get stressed, times like COVID, things like that. So don't nail down, oh, I've got to get 7 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours. It's really listening to your body and maintaining that level of consistency. And we're going to teach people how to do that for sure.
Yeah, that's actually a great question. Is what is that magic number? And you said it's different per person per time.
It is. It's different for everybody. So let me give you an example. Let me tell you about my own sleep, right? I go to bed at midnight almost every single night. I wake up somewhere between 6:10 and 6:13 for some crazy reason every single day. And I mean, people out there know exactly what I'm talking about. You ever look over at the clock and it's the same freaking number every single time? Like, that's what happens to me. And I'm the sleep doctor, for God's sakes. And I only sleep 6 hours and 15 minutes, right? So how does that happen? It's about the consistency. It's about following good patterns. but I can do this anywhere in the world. I can get on an airplane. I can go to China. I can sleep my 6 hours and 15 minutes, wake up and feel good. So once you dial this in, it becomes the secret weapon, right? I mean, and you've started to find this as we're making your sleep better, your energy level is increasing, your creativity increases. All of those things happen better when you sleep.
Wow, incredible. All right,
It's
well,
amazing, dude.
why don't we dive into it? But actually, before we do that, I want to talk about jet lag really quick.
Of course.
We, I know we're not really dealing with jet lag right now,
Right.
but this is a problem for me.
Yes.
A big problem.
It's your biggest problem.
It's my biggest problem, and it's
Right.
just partially why I won't sleep well on the road.
Right.
And I'll sleep even if I have like a window of 6 hours. I only sleep for 3 because this jet lag is just crucial. Like it's just
Right.
savage.
Yeah, it is.
Saying no, wake up.
Right.
And then like I leave the country, and I finally switched to that country's
Exactly.
timeline, and then I'm back in another country, and I leave that country, and I'm like always racing.
Right.
Is there a way to like balance, or not balance, but
there is
regulate the jet lag?
Absolutely, there is. And so I've been working for a while with the company, and we created an app. And we used 4 different things to regulate jet lag. We can use caffeine, melatonin, napping, and believe it or not, light therapy. So light therapy will shift your circadian rhythm. And so when you start out in, let's say, the UK, and you're coming back, to, let's say, Vegas to do a show, we can use light and melatonin to shift your schedule before you land. So that way you're ready to rock and roll. And that's the type of technology that's now actually available to people out there. So for many of your friends, like you said, musicians, producers who are going to watch this kind of thing, this is actually technology that's available now to people, especially people who are as busy as you guys.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's definitely put up a link for that information.
Of course we will.
That is when things get back to the place where I can finally go out and play shows, I'm going to be studying that.
Oh, yes.
Jet lag. I hate jet lag.
So first of all, thanks to everybody for having me here. We're going to go through some information to help people learn how to be better in bed and sleep during a pandemic during our Mindfulness Marathon. So remember, sleep affects a tremendous number of things throughout our body. Today, we're talking a lot about immune function, right? Because of the COVID and things that are going on. But it does everything. Sleep decreases pain. It actually makes you lose weight. Believe it or not, sleep makes you better looking. Great study I want to tell you about where they took pictures of people who were sleep deprived, same camera angles, and then the same people were well slept, showed the 2 pictures to total strangers. 100% of the time, they could figure out when the person was sleep deprived. So guess what? We're not fooling anybody out there, right? It's literally written all over our face. And our mental speed is quicker, our reaction time is quicker. And to be fair, we're more positive when we sleep well.
Absolutely.
We're more creative when we sleep well. Honestly, we're just better people when we sleep well. Both of my kids, my daughter Carson, when I don't sleep well, she says, "Dad, you're a grumpy fish." I think that says it all right there, right?
Yeah. I know that word. I've been that many times.
Indeed. So what I thought I would do is give everybody some really helpful tips that they could do during the day, and then a few things that they could do at night. And then I want to show them what I put you through in our little mini sleep challenge.
All right.
All right. So the first thing that I want people to look at is caffeine. So this is interesting because most people don't know this, but a lot of people, the very first thing they do is they slam a cup of coffee when they wake up in the mornings. Is that something that you've ever done?
Yeah, I do that. Actually, like I go right up. I have my own kind of ritual. I pretty much do that. I make a turmeric latte with some mushroom, like lion's mane. I have like a good cocktail, some unpasteurized butter. Some tea. I mean, I made.
All right, everybody head over to Steve's place in the morning for morning drinks because clearly he's got something dialed in here. So here's what happens is a lot of people drink coffee as the first thing in the morning, and I'll tell you why that's not a good idea. Most people don't know this, but sleep in and of itself is a dehydrative event. What that means is throughout the night, when you're breathing, the humidity in your breath, you lose almost a full liter of water every single night. And it turns out caffeine's a diuretic. So you don't want to be drinking caffeine after having had a dehydrative event because it just makes it worse. If
Wow.
you can just wait 90 minutes afterwards, I'll tell you why that's important. So in order to wake up, you need two hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, and they're super duper powerful. When those are still wandering around in your brain after you wake up, when you pour caffeine on them, it does absolutely nothing. But when you wait 90 minutes, those hormones drop, and then the caffeine actually helps pick them back up, and you get a bigger bang for your boost. So for those out there who want to start to lower that caffeine consumption, if you just wait 90 minutes after you wake up, I promise you, you're going to feel better.
Wow.
I talked a little bit about hydration. Let me be more specific. When you wake up, there you go. Drink that water, Steve. When you wake up, I want you drinking a full bottle of water a day. And if it's possible, I'd like it to be a reusable bottle, not a single-use bottle, if we can
Yeah.
throw that in there as well. But water turns out to be incredibly, incredibly important, right? Because of this dehydration. The other thing you should do is you should get sunlight. So this is really interesting. So you know how we were talking about blue light before and how it turns off the melatonin faucet? Well, that we can use that fact to our advantage. So in the mornings, here's what I tell people to do is grab that bottle of water, walk over to your window or walk outside and get 15 minutes of direct sunlight. It turns off that melatonin faucet and it gets rid of that brain fog in the morning. Do me a favor though, if you go right out of bed and you grab the water and you walk outside, put on a robe. I'm just saying, put on a robe, okay? Stay physically active. This is probably the single best thing that you can do, especially during COVID, right? Lots and lots of people are not really very, very active. I saw a tweet the other day where somebody said, a celebrity said they'd only walked or 200 steps and it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Dude, most people would be stepped like 6,500 by that period of time, right? And so our lowered levels of activity are having a big effect on our ability to sleep. Stay active. It's one of the best things that you could possibly do, especially during times like now. Now I'm going to go back on the caffeine kick and I'm going to tell people to stop caffeine by 2 p.m. Now this was one of the recommendations that I gave to you. We're going to get into how well or easy this challenge was for you in a moment. But the reason I ask people to stop caffeine by 2 is simple. Caffeine has a half-life of between 6 and 8 hours. Many people didn't know that. So if you stop by 2 and you're going to bed around 10, which is kind of around the time most people go to bed, not those members of the crowd named Steve Aoki, clearly, then this will not affect your ability to fall asleep at night. So I'm kind of putting a window, if you will, on caffeine. But I'm going to also give everybody my favorite caffeine sleep hack. It's called the nap-a-latte. So if you are dragging it one day and you just can't get the energy going, here's what I want you to do. Get a cup of black drip coffee. Throw 3 ice cubes in it just to cool it down. Slug it as fast as you can and then take a 25-minute nap. Here's what happens is when you fall asleep, there's this stuff called adenosine that's built up in your brain. As you sleep, you burn through that and caffeine is literally waiting right behind it because you just drank it. It fits into that receptor site. You're good for 4 hours. Guaranteed.
Wow.
It's amazing. I do it with every Fortune 100 CEO I've ever worked with. I call it the nap-a-latte. It's awesome and it works.
Wow. Really. I'm definitely doing that. These naps are, I mean, sometimes you wake up from a nap and still foggy. I think you probably just come back.
Not
right?
with this, brother. No way. The key here though is to not nap too long. Notice it's a 25-minute nap, right? That's the key factor is have the caffeine before and then the 25-minute nap because caffeine will kick in then.
Why 25 minutes?
So there's 2 reasons for 25 minutes. One is that's kind of when the caffeine is going to start kicking in. But also, I don't know if you've ever had this experience. I know I have. If I sleep more than about 25 minutes, I feel worse, not better after a nap. You ever had those naps?
Yes. The short naps are always fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic for me.
Yeah, me too.
Long naps are they wear you out for the rest of the day when you wake up.
Right, exactly. So that's part of the reason why I want you to do the 25-minute and you get the boost from the caffeine when you wake up. Dude, you're on fire by the time you get through this. All right, let's keep going. Now I'm going to tell you about some things to do at night. So let's talk about alcohol, right? There's a really big difference between going to sleep and passing out, okay? We don't like the passing out. We like the going to sleep. But hey, I like red wine. I like scotch and bourbon. I'm an occasional beer drinker. So how do we deal with this? And by the way, during COVID, alcohol is on the rise. People need to be super careful about this. So let me give you a couple of quick facts. Number 1, to be clear, alcohol negatively affects immune function. That is a known fact in the medical universe. So if you're drinking, you're lowering your immunity, just so that you're aware of that. What's interesting is it takes the average human body 1 hour to digest one alcoholic beverage. So here's my plan, is if you drink 1 glass of alcohol, have 1 glass of water, wait 1 hour before bed, right? That way you replace the fluid with the water, because remember, alcohol is a diuretic. It's going to make you have to pee. If you have 2 glasses of alcohol, you're going to have 2 glasses of water and wait 2 hours. Here's where it gets weird. If you go past 2, different things happen. Alcohol doesn't actually react in your body the same once you get past about 2 drinks. For women, it has a tendency to make them more excited and have more energy. In men, it can actually make them more aggressive. So to be clear, you're locked in your house with your family for the last 8 weeks. Getting hammered is not a good idea, okay? A glass of wine, a bourbon, whatever, that's perfectly fine. Give yourself the time so that it doesn't have an effect on your sleep. Exercise. I can't tell you enough how important exercise is, but you don't want to exercise too close to bedtime, because that can actually make it difficult to fall asleep because of the heat that your body produces. So give yourself about 4 hours before bed to have stopped your exercise. Now, this is something that, Steve, you haven't seen before. I call it the power down hour. So that hour before bed, a lot of people think of sleep and they say, well, it's like an on-off switch, right? I can just go in that back room and fall asleep. It doesn't really work that way. It's really more like slowly pulling your foot off the gas and slowly putting your foot on the brake. There's a process that has to occur. But what I do is I take that hour before bed, and here's what I do. Number 1, I put myself on a media diet. To be clear, you do not need to know how many people died of COVID in your state or city or whatever right before bed, okay? It doesn't work well. And believe it or not, there's actually data now to show that if you have positive, optimistic thoughts before bed, not only do you fall asleep more quickly, which is certainly an advantage, but you have more positive dreams.
Right.
That turns out to be really important, especially right now, because as you and I were talking earlier, some people are having some pretty weird dreams out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? There's this whole new phenomenon we're calling quarantine dreaming, right? Which is this stress-related dreams that are happening to a lot of people. So having something to do that's positive before bed turns out to be a really good thing to be able to be doing. Also, I keep a notepad on my bed, because one of the other positive things that I like to do before bed is write a gratitude list, right? So what am I personally grateful for? Some days there's a lot of things, some days there's not as many things, but I'm always able to find things. And that, again, puts me in a positive mood and a positive mode before bed, which helps me fall asleep and helps me have more positive dreams. If there's one thing you get from my talk all throughout, and you'll see Steve follows this hopefully now as well, is have one wake-up time, right? So stick to that one wake-up time, because that keeps everything together the way we want it. Now, I am the only sleep doctor in the universe that says it's okay to fall asleep with the television on.
Really?
Yes, I am it. Now, I'll tell you why that happened to occur. So many of you don't know her, but Steve knows her actually quite well. My wife, Lauren. So when we met, she turned to me and she said, honey, if we ever have a sleepover, I need to let you know that I sleep with the television on. So I said, oh, hon, don't worry about that. I'll fix that. I don't know about any of you, but if you ever tried to fix something in your bed partner before, it does not go well. So I figured out that I wasn't going to just remove the television. So I decided to study her to learn more about why she was watching TV to go to bed. So she's not even watching it. She's listening to it, right? So her eyes are closed and she's just kind of listening passively to the content. And it's enough of a distraction that it turns off what she calls her monkey mind, right? So, you know that feeling, dude, where you just can't turn off your brain at night. It just goes and goes and goes. This is the method that she uses to help her be able to fall asleep. 99% of the televisions have got timers in the software. Set the timer for 3 hours. Let it go and fall asleep. The sleep doctor is giving you permission to be able to do that if that's going to help you fall asleep. But the one thing I don't like are these, right? Phones and iPads before bed. And I'll tell you why. If you're just listening to something and the content is passively coming over you, like music or television or something like that, that's one thing. But dude, if you're trying to get your high score on Candy Crush, I got news for you. You ain't trying to sleep, right? And so that engagement is what I want people to slow down on, right? I get it. The blue light's a lot closer, but that engagement turns out to be very important factor. And the other thing is I like people to stay cool in bed. So it turns out that your core body temperature drops as you fall asleep. And so if your surroundings are too warm, your core body temperature can't drop, and that can make it incredibly difficult to have a great night's sleep. So if you can, turn your thermostat down. That 18 represents Celsius, which is about 65 to 66 or so degrees.
That's
Now I get it. So I know it is cold, right? It's like a meat locker, right? So I get it if you live in Vegas, right? And it's not, you can't cool your house to 65 degrees. I mean, that might be crazy. So you want to be about 20, 25 degrees off the daily high. And my newest stuff that's been going on lately has been my big sleep challenge, which, Steve, you were my very first person to participate in it. So let's talk about what happened, pros and cons, and what we're going to do now.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So here's what I had Steve do. So step number one for him was he had to select one wake up time and stick to it. So Steve, what was your wake up time?
It was 11.
11. So
Yeah.
that makes sense because you were staying up until 4 or 5 or something
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah. So 11 was, I was still getting like, if I stay up till 4, I was trying to get to bed by 4.
Okay.
So I can get my at least 7 hours,
Right.
which is a healthy amount of sleep for,
Yeah.
especially for like pre-COVID Steve Aoki.
Right.
That's like crazy amount of sleep. But yeah, so that time was great.
So you were able to stick to 11?
11 was, yeah. I mean, like, it took me it was a little harder today,
Right.
because I had to finish this project, and I was up till like 5. So because I slept less, I think my assistant comes in and he's like, "Oh, you got to get up, man. This is the time that Dr. Breus is saying to wake up." I'm like, I need some more time today, So sometimes I broke it, but for the most part, I always woke up at 11. So that step 1 wasn't that difficult.
All right. Step 2 was stopping caffeine by 2 p.m. How was that for you?
That was really hard.
Oh,
that was really hard because, especially when I'm in the studio, it's like 11 or 12. I mean, I'm getting tired too, like, unless I'm not like engaging, interacting with something. And sometimes when I get tired, I would stop the caffeine, and when I would get tired, I would either take a nap, and just take a quick nap, or I would do something highly engaging with my brain.
Right.
That would keep going, like Call of Duty.
Right.
Or chess. Like chess is always puzzling my brain, and I have a friend in house. We always play, and he's crushing me. So like, gives me like this competitive, like underdog kind of fight.
I'm sure. Kind of like when I beat you at backgammon.
You're pretty good. But the caffeine was tough, man. It was tough. I tried it for a few days, and some days I was like, sleep doctor doesn't know what I'm doing here. I'm just going to, I need it right now, man. So I have this like caffeine gum that I chew.
I hear you, brother. All right. So how many days out of the 7 days would you say you were able to keep it?
Maybe 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a tough one. How about alcohol? Limiting alcohol 4 hours before bed. So stopping.
I didn't drink any alcohol this time. Like,
so that was an easy one.
Yeah, that's step 3 is easy. It's more like celebratory, or if I'm like with a bunch of friends. So step 3 is like very, very easy.
What about limiting exercise 4 hours before bed? Were you able to exercise? Because I know you're a pretty hardcore exerciser usually.
Yeah. So that was actually a bit hard because I exercise at really strange times.
Oh.
Because of like pre-COVID, me, I would exercise after the show, at like 5 a.m, or I would exercise when I land at like 7 p.m, or whenever I would get into the gym. Because sometimes the way my brain is like, if I don't go now, I'm just not going to go for the day. Right. So I just need to get it in. So I had to do all my exercises when I woke up, which is strange for me. Most people exercise when they wake up.
Right.
I exercise it like halfway throughout my day. So it was weird to change up the tempo on that one. That was actually, that wasn't as hard as caffeine, but it was probably, I stuck by it, but it was difficult.
And then the last one was to get 15 minutes of sunlight after waking up in the morning. That one should have been pretty easy for you.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of got it. I sort of like didn't get it. Like sometimes I got, I think I was half on, half off on this one. It wasn't necessarily difficult. I almost forgot about it. But
Okay.
I did like, I remember like the first week I did go outside and I would have, like I would have my coffee and like
Perfect.
go outside and like read a little bit. Cause I'm starting to read as well. Cause of Jim Quick, who's also part of my Mindfulness Marathon. He got
Absolutely.
me
And
reading
Jim's a dear
again.
friend of mine.
Yeah. So yeah, so I did the first half of it, I was doing it. And then the second half, I think I definitely did get it, but it wasn't in the beginning. It wasn't at the
Got it.
start of the day.
So when you look across the 5 steps and all the different things that you were asked to do over the course of that 10-day period, do you feel like it was helpful for your sleep or was it more harmful for your sleep?
Yeah, stopping the caffeine,
Yeah.
that was very like that helped me because I
Hmm.
just was tired by the time I got into bed because the caffeine is like it's
Right.
just strong on my system.
Yeah.
Um, the waking up at the same time was great. I really like this one a lot.
Yep. Good, good,
And
good.
it keeps me regulated through my schedule, like
Right.
because I know I got to wake up by 11. That's what I told Dr. Bruce. I'm going to wake up by 11. I'm going to stick to that, and that really, really was a great step one. Alcohol, I didn't have to worry about. Exercise, um, yeah, I think that definitely did help. You know, because
Hmm.
it like you're just like pumped up after a workout.
Right.
And sunlight, no problem. Sunlight. I think that's unconscious. It affects you.
Yep.
You don't really, you don't really know
So,
how much it does
so
for you.
is it safe to say, Steve, that it was an improvement, but it seemed like it was a little on the easy side for you?
It was way too easy. It was way too easy. And I think for everyone watching, I think you guys could do a lot more than this. To be honest with you, I wanted to try this out and make you gotta try, you gotta step in the waters first. But like for the fans out there that really want to get it in, let's give them something bigger.
Dude, you read my mind. We're going to do the biggest badass Aoki sleep challenge that's ever been done. So
Awesome.
here's what we're going to do. For everybody out there that's watching, Steve has figured this all out with me, and we're going to have some fun. Go to www.thesleepdoctor.com/Aoki and register there. Every 2 days, you're going to get an email with a different step in the challenge, and you're going to get a sleep diary so that way you can track how much better you're getting. So let me tell you about the 5 parts of the challenge. Part 1 is you're going to do just like what Steve did. You're going to figure out what time you should be going to bed, and then we're going to teach you based on your genetic sleep schedule. That's not something that you know about yet, but you're going to learn about it in the challenge. Step number 2 is I'm going to teach you, or actually we're going to teach you when to eat, when to drink alcohol, water, caffeine, so that they do not have an effect on your sleep. Part 3 is now we're going to go into morning routines. I'm going to teach you what to do at night, and I'm going to teach you what to do in the day to make your days amazing. And then part 4, we're going to teach you how to evaluate your bedroom. So could there be something that's in your bedroom that's messing up your sleep? Could you have an old pillow, a bad mattress, too much light, too much noise? What's going on in there? I'm going to give you a full checklist that you're going to walk around your bedroom with and see every single thing that you can change. And it's not going to cost you a dime. And then step number 5 is I'm going to teach you how to use napping, exactly how we taught Steve how to do it, to get more energy during the day, as well as doing simple, small movements throughout the day so that your energy never leaves you and you are rocking and rolling just like Steve Aoki all the way through.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Michael, Dr. Bruce, sleep doctor. I appreciate you, man. No, this is incredible. I think this is going to be very helpful information for everyone watching. And I always wanted to do this with you and share with my fans. Like the guy that made "I'll Sleep When I'm Dead" doc meets the sleep doctor coming together, and
Exactly.
and making some waves. So yeah, I'm sleeping more. I'm enjoying my sleep. I think differently about sleep, and so should you guys too. So
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys at the Aoki Sleep Challenge. Head on over to thesleepdoctor.com/Aoki. register there and start it up. We can't wait to see what your sleep diaries are going to look like. And for people who had incredible improvements in sleep, we're going to find some great prizes for you as well.
And let's like also post up a link of the jet lag.
Oh, the jet lag app? Yeah, Time Shifter.
How to deal with jet lag.
You bet.
Let's put a link up of that, and let's put a link up for the glasses.
Oh yeah, they're actually called sleepdoctorglasses.com. They're my glasses.
Okay, cool. So we'll put up those links up at the end, and so you guys can get that information there too. But appreciate you, Michael. Appreciate you for this.
Of course. It's always my pleasure to be hanging out with the great Aoki and learning from you and enjoying your creativity and all that you do for everybody. You're a true inspiration, Steve. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Breus. Appreciate you. All right. That was great, man.
Yeah, that was good. We good with that?
Yeah, I thought that was excellent. I thought that was really good.